Guten Tag and willkommen PopCulture Reacts as we are working our way through Rammstein's self-titled, untitled album Rammstein.
Rammers
And we
by
are at,
Rammers.
exactly, we are at track 9, Weit Weg or Far Away.
I was gonna say I did when I was actually getting the lyrics up. The first thing it did was translate it for me as to far away. I'm assuming like it was it was the correct translation.
So, as we've said pretty much every video, or every video since Puppa, this album's been a banger all the way through. So, should
Yeah.
we just see if it carries on?
Yes, please. Right, let's do this.
Niemand kann das Bild beschreiben gegen seine Fensterscheibe. Hat er das Gesicht gepresst und hofft, dass sie das Licht anlässt. Ohne Kleid sah er sie nie, die Herrin seiner Fantasie. Er nimmt die Gläser vom Gesicht, singt zitternd eine Melodie. Der Raum wird sich mit Mondlicht füllen, lässt sie fallen, alle Hüllen. Der Anblick ist ihm sehr gewogen, spannt seine Fantasie zum Bogen. Der Atem stockt, das Herz schlägt wild, malt seine Farben in ihr Bild. Steht er da am Fensterrand mit einer Sonne in der Hand, ganz nah, so weit weg von ihr, so nah, weit, weit weg von dir, ganz nah. So weit weg sind wir, so nah, weit, weit weg von mir. Wieder ist es Mitternacht, ich stehl uns das Licht der Sonne, weil es immer dunkel ist, wenn der Mond die Sterne küsst, ganz nah. So nah. Ganz nah.
So, Mr.
Far
Sen
away.
Zweitsag.
Not near, far away.
Exactly.
What is the Father Ted gag? That's about the, the farm animals in it, and he's got a little toy one, and he's like,
Yeah.
ignore me, ignore me. It just I hadn't thought of it until the end.
These ones are far away. That's
Yeah,
why they're
yeah,
small.
yeah,
Yes.
and that's what the song was about, as far as I'm concerned at this point. You talk about this one because I feel like I've monopolised this album a bit. You go
That's
first.
because I know this album so much.
I know, but it doesn't mean that like your opinion is any less interesting nor valid. In fact, if anything, I think arguably much more so because you know this album.
So I love this. This is so that sort of late 80s new wavy goth vibe, like a Depeche Mode and things like that. It's just got early Nine Inch Nails in there as well. It's just them playing in a slower, more electronic.
Yeah, got some sci-fi electronic twangs to it, hasn't it?
Yeah. And again, another one where, so close, so far away in English sounds dull.
Yeah.
Suchal, Weit Weg. Yeah, give it in German. So much better. Um,
Well, in English, it's not a million miles away from bloody near, far, wherever you are. That awful Titanic song. So there's conclusive proof that it doesn't translate well if sung in English. It's an abomination, some might say.
yes. But yeah, I said for and with how the album flows at this point, you've had the like with Vassliebe and Diamond, a sort of very much in a more sort of slower, much more reflective, much more thought provoking sort of songs musically as well as lyrically, into this, which is like a massive tonal shift,
It is, isn't it?
but but just sits there nicely as a sort of palate cleanser from what you've just had to sort of go, ooh, because the heaviness ramps up, but it's still not heavy. But with that Depeche Mode style electronics sitting in it,
Yeah.
just gives it a different depth and a different vibe behind it that uh, just adds to the album as a whole. And especially when you think where how this whole album flows, it doesn't sit in that same pocket for like one song to another, but they all sit so well together as a complete body of work. But yeah, no,
We've got two tracks to go after this, haven't we?
yes,
Yeah,
two
so obviously
left.
like hard to say with the two left. I kind of like I'm gonna go with 50+% agree with what you're saying, but I think I probably 100% agree with what you're saying, but I think our outcomes are different because um and as contradictory as this may sound, because I have liked that the album has not had a singular sound and has been, let's say, more playful in not only things that Rammstein have done on other albums, but I think stretch those to more focused on the song they're doing rather than let's go with Rammstein style. But this is
Yeah,
the first time where I go, I'd yoink this one out. I wouldn't have this on this album, and not because I don't like it. Like it's not that. I do think for me so far, it's the first one where I've kind of gone. It doesn't. I wouldn't say it doesn't feel like it's up to the standard, or no, standard's wrong. I didn't enjoy it as much as I did every other song, and I'm saying this without hearing 10 and 11 because this felt like to me the start of an album. This felt like a song I might start an out. Forget lyrical content. We'll come back to it in a minute.
mm.
Like musically, this felt like the start of an album, even like a kind of concept album, rock opera kind of. This was a start of something to me,
Okay.
and yeah, I don't know. At track 9, it just felt a little bit maybe wonky for me being in there. But of course, like 10 and 11 might reinforce kind of why it's there. But yes, this is the first time I've gone, yeah, this one I wouldn't have put in. But not anything to do with quality, just and I wouldn't have put it at the start of this album either. As much as it feels like an album starter, it feels like something that I would expect to be born throughout an album. That kind of techno, as you say, kind of 80s emo techno. When I say techno, I mean technological, not techno stylings. In it, yeah, this feels like this would be part of a whole rather than sat there. Whereas some of the other songs, I don't necessarily think knit together in a that's clearly the style you go to follow that. But I think it's been to its credit for most of it so far. But this is the first time, But as I say, like more as a testament of, I think it's good, but I think I want it to be the starting morsel of something rather than the aperitif, rather than something at the end of an album or towards the end of an album, should I say?
Yeah. Lyrically, I like this. It's very much back to Rammstein doing stories.
Yeah.
See it, the man that wants to paint and sees things. Is it far away? Is it close? Is it the fact that he can see it and it's just outside the window and he can't move? Is he, in a wheelchair, or is he bedbound so he paints from his windowsill because he can't get outside? That's why it's so far away. There's so much you can sort of look in on this lyrically of what
So
what is the story they're trying to say.
we said in the last one about like that interpretive bit and how wonderful art can be, especially art like this, be it poetry or be it song. Oh, man, I've got a totally different story than you did. Like, and I mean a totally different story. And I like yours better because yours sounds quite sorrowful and beautiful. I got a dirty perv who was trying to look at a woman. Like that's and again, like first listen, first read, first interpretation, all that sort of thing. But yeah, everything about it was saying to me, and I say dirty perv, that was more for comedy effect, but effectively someone who is looking at someone literally in a window across the street. Let's kind of go, and it could be some like a romanticizing of that, but also could be the dark side of it. But like a longing and a love for wanting to see this person. Also, there were snippets in there, Mia, going, and I say about how far off we are with your beautiful rendition of it. I was going, have I got this wrong? Is he just going down the red light district and trying to look at women through an actual window? So yeah, I was so far away from where you were on it, but again, further listens may well go. But yeah, I was very much because I was thinking, oh, we're kind of in that world of not the kind of gothicy, horror-y fairy tale, but more the human beings can be worrisome and a bit dark sometimes, can't they? Not necessarily serial killer dark, but in this one. But yeah, I thought it was someone who had an extreme longing and things like where it mentions in fact, I'll get the lyrics rather than horrifically misquote it, although it is a translation. But where they talk about the sun, and it's almost for me, it was like nighttime is the happy time because that's the time where I'm going to go back to Dirty Perv just because it amuses me. That's the time when the Dirty Perv gets to see this thing he longs so much. Whereas when the sun is up, that's almost the time that he doesn't get to. Admittedly, it's a time when most of the people in the world are seeing the things that they want to see, but this is where he surreptitiously can watch. He can feel very close to something that is so very far away, and by the same token, probably is quite close geographically, but so far away because he can only view her from that distance.
See, where I'm just, can't
Yours
get
is
outside
much more beautiful.
And he sees, and yeah, it may still be the, slightly pervy on the neighbor. He sees the pretty girl outside.
Yeah.
he just wants to paint her. But he can't get outside to, to see the sun and all these things. He paints it from his window.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I prefer your version. Your
So,
version is quite a sad tale, whereas my version is quite a tale.
so down there, my version or his version, or your
Sad
own.
or pervert. Sad or pervert, yeah. Like, but again, that's part of the interesting ride you go on with some songs. Is, and again for us, very interesting to hear what other people say. And I don't mean in a "oh you're bloody wrong" kind of way, because it is art, it's interpretive. If there was a definitive kind of "it is this," it probably wouldn't be anywhere near as good nor as beautifully put together or sung, because it would be he's a dirty
Here's
pervert
fact
looking at
one,
her.
here's fact
Yeah,
two.
yeah. Which some songs do, but like I think this is, this is there for it to be. I'm going to say what you want it to be, but then it suggests that I want it to be a pervert.
Says more about you.
I don't. I never open my curtains. I couldn't perv on anyone. Even on the sunniest day of my life, I'm just like, nope, curtains always closed in my house. I'm going to see natural light. It's disgusting.
Down with this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, as always, YouTube things, like, subscribe, and ringeth the bell. And until next time, and tattoo, Auf Wiedersehen.